We can all agree that ants are incredibly hard-working creatures. They tirelessly forage for food, care for their colony mates, and defend their territory against invaders. But like many of us, they also have secrets they keep from their neighbors, their lovers, even their own children. And luckily for us, science is here to uncover them. Hi, I'm here with Minna Tirth. Seriously, though, if you didn't know much about ants before you click this video, you probably think of them as simple creatures. That makes sense because when we see them out in the wild, we usually only see them doing one of three things: carrying something that's either bigger or smaller than they are, running away from something big and scary, or running towards something delicious. But there's a whole other world of ant behavior that we only know about thanks to scientific research. Take mating, for instance. We know that most ant species are eusocial, which means that their colonies are made up of multiple generations of individuals that are all related and that cooperate in caring for the next generation. This level of cooperation is pretty rare in the animal kingdom. So scientists have spent a lot of time studying how ants do it. One thing they've uncovered is that when it comes to sex, ants are swinging. Like seriously. In some ant species, workers mate with each other to produce male and female offspring. In others, a group of males will mate with their sisters, producing more sisters. And in at least 21 different ant species, workers can store sperm in their oviducts for months or even years, allowing them to control who they mate with. Some promiscuous individuals even keep sperm from multiple mates in what's called a sperm library, and at least one species of ant has been observed storing sperm from unrelated males in different parts of their reproductive tract for the purpose of producing hybrid offspring. Yes, some ants are basically swiping right on every eligible bachelor in the colony. But these extramarital activities are just the tip of the iceberg. For example, in the leafcutter ant adder cephalotes, males actually compete for the right to mate with virgin queens by fighting over pieces of leaves that the females carry around as pheromone factory. The chemicals in the leaves help the males identify females that are ready to mate. But they also function as an aphrodisiac. So males will rip those leaves apart in order to bathe themselves in the female's pheromones and become better candidates for mating. And this behavior has led to a bizarre evolutionary arms race between males and females. Males have evolved to be better at finding, ripping apart, and holding onto these precious pheromone factories, while females have evolved to be pickier about which males they allow to court them, often rejecting hundreds before choosing a single mate. And yes, I realize that the idea of horny little ants fighting over pieces of leaves does make this information feel salacious, but knowing about these behaviors tells us something important about the evolution of social insects. And besides that, there's also the fact that ant sex pheromones could be the key to helping us understand the sex pheromones of endangered insects like the monarch butterfly, which might help us save their species from extinction. Okay? Now let's talk about another one of ants' dirty little secrets: stealing. When scientists say the ants are super cooperators, they don't mean that they never steal from each other. In fact, theft is actually a pretty common occurrence in many ant species. Take the notorious thief ant, for instance, which lives in Central and South America. Thief ants are kleptoparasites, which means that instead of collecting food themselves, they raid the nests of other ants. Because they can't carry large objects, they head straight for the other ants' larvae and pillage their stored food supplies, even bringing the larvae back to their own nest to raise as their own. Not only does this reduce the amount of time and energy the thief ants spend foraging, but it also benefits both parents and offspring because the adults get to hoard more resources for themselves and the larvae get access to higher quality food. Scientists estimate that in some areas, 70% of the food that certain Acromyrmex leafcutter ant colonies gather is stolen from other colonies. And given that the average leafcutter ant colony has between 8,000 and 10,000 members, that's a lot of snacks. But why don't the ants whose food is being stolen do anything about it? Well, it turns out that many ants are surprisingly cool with sharing. Researchers found that some species of ants will readily accept foreign larvae into their nests, even if the newcomers aren't closely related to their residents. But they don't do this out of the goodness of their tiny little hearts. It turns out that accepting foreign larvae into your nest is a good strategy for increasing the genetic diversity of your colony, and genetically diverse colonies are less likely to collapse. Over time, this sharing behavior acts as an insurance policy, preventing total disaster in the event that the colony is hit by a disease or faces some other kind of ecological challenge. However, there is a cost to accepting outsiders, and it's not just that you have to share your snacks. See, when you take in larvae from another colony, you risk introducing parasites into your nest. Some species of ants deal with this problem by farming their own assassins. Certain ant colonies contain specialized workers called soldiers whose job it is to kill any intruders. And once the assassins have cleared out the new rivals, the rest of the colony can finally settle and get to work. Speaking of getting to work, it's time for me to wrap up this video. But before I do, I want to send a big thank you to my supporters. With your support, I get to explore the hidden secrets of the natural world every week and bring them to everyone else. And you too can support this channel. Click the link in the description to learn how. Thank you.